when we're gonna tank here, when we're pushing, say we're pushing, this is B point, okay? War camp is back here, okay? So we're on strong side of point here that I'm approaching from, okay? So if you're doing IG sword. Is that what I heard correctly, Yankee?
Correct.
Okay, so this is what you're gonna do if because since you're coming in first, I want tanks watching. So this is how I name the quadrants for everybody to know, okay? So I'm standing in quadrant 1 right now, okay?
Middle?
No, well, dude.
Oh, based on this circle, so...
Just imagine 4 little just split it right down the middle like a pie into 4 little. Yeah. Okay. So this is, you know, this is section A from the root to here, or the pole to here, and pole to here. Okay. Or section quad 1.
Quadrant 4? Or 1?
No, this will be quadrant 1. Okay. Quadrant 2 here, and we're just going clockwise, counterclockwise. Quadrant 3, okay. Quadrant 4. Okay. So now when we're tanking, the main point tank, who is going to be Appa most likely if Miller's not there, is going to be sitting here on the center of point like this, okay? So when you're in the Ice Gauntlet tank and you're moving in, since you're going to be first, when you know which quad you're going to be going to, you're going to drop your thaw on there so that when you get there, they're already slowed. You're on there, you get your blocks, get your stuns out, all that other fun shit. Oops, I didn't put my sword and shield on, I put a fucking Ice Gauntlet all over it. And then what happens is by doing this, you guys are going to end up forming a V formation. So kind of like where Black Crow is standing in quadrant 1.
Yeah.
And then third tank will be sitting in quadrant 4, kind of like this, while the main tank is sitting in the center. So what happens by doing this is you tanks being on these sides, you can keep the spread in control if they start getting out of control with the IGVGs out here. And then also you can keep an eye on to the left. This side will keep an eye on the side of C, so that if a C surge comes coming, that this tank can call it out so we know to redirect. Same thing for your side, Enki. You will be controlling this, and what your goal is with this V formation is you're going to have people going like this, coming to try and penetrate through. They're either going to do a dumbass move like this, try to go through you, or they're going to do the same thing and do a dumbass move trying to go through Black Crow. Or they're going to do a completely dumbass move and fucking run straight into the fucking IGVGs to die. All 3 tanks sitting in a line like this presents too much opportunity for people to move around and get around you guys. So when you form kind of like this bird V formation, you keep it so that they either spread out and will widen out over the area like this, or you will force them, if they're cocky, to go through a little maze to die. So basically, after you cast your first ice shower, after that, let the IGVGs handle it, and then as you see a spot open up, you refill it with yours. And then the key with the Ice Gauntlet tanking is because when you know the skill perk, when you block, you regain stamina. So what you do is after you lose all your stamina, you switch to your IG. Hold on, let me actually put it on now. This is the right way. So what happens is you'll switch to your IG and block because you regain stamina and you block everything with the IG. So you'll be sitting here, you'll be blocking, you run out of stam. You know, if you have your accelerated dissolve, go ahead, pop that and do that. But if all that's on cooldown, you switch to your IG and like you're literally just going from block to block. And then you're regaining stamina. As soon as your stamina's back, right back to your sword and shield combo. And then your main goal is only to weaken, stun, and lock in place. No damage, no nothing. Maximum con. Everybody else's job is to kill. Your job is to keep them in a spot that we want them, or to split them out so that they can be picked off by overextending.
The block and Ice Gauntlet for stam regen.
Correct, and that's the first perk on the left-hand side of the tree, I believe. So that's what you do is when you IG. That's why IG tank is becoming. I'm assuming it's becoming the new meta. Is because of that skill from the IG. Is you literally just go from block to block. So the question is, if I stam out real quick, even if I block with Ice Gauntlet, yeah. So if you just got to make sure you hit it right before you stam out. Because if you stam out, it won't work. So you'll literally let yourself get to the like last 10%, and then just switch to IG because it's going to instantly come back.
Yeah.
There's also stam recovery. The stam recovery perk for when you get hit below 50%, we would get 40 stam back as well. So you can go right back to blocking. That's also one of the mandatory things to have on. And then also, of course, fortifying toes. And then the healers will be also keeping you at fortify cap through orb and sacreds. So like what I was teaching during the healer training yesterday is I showed the different quads. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have wrong weapon. Is we're gonna have our 4 sacreds spread out like this on point, okay, for you tanks, so you have your maximum and same thing with orbs, so you have your maximum fortification, or maximum fortification. And that so you guys can rotate around while you're doing that, and no matter where you go, you'll have a circle. And then what happens is basically about split 50-50 with the beacon. We're gonna do this for the IGVGs. So what happens is IGVGs get heal and the crit buff from my vengeance, and then you also have the additional healing from the beacon while you're moving around inside. Kind of see how that works. So while you're working your quarters and stuff, you're still going to be able to stay in 2 heals at a time at almost all times.
Yeah.
And then AoE healer like me, I'll be making sure that I focus the dead center or wherever anything's lacking like that. You know what I mean? But that's what yesterday's training was about. How the healing's going to get spread out. That's how you know where these circles are going to be. So this is pretty close how it is right there. So that no matter where you go, you're fortified and your crit damage enhanced. And it's the same thing for the bruisers when they're doing their rotations. So when they're rotating back in, they're getting buffed. And then the IGVGs will be throwing down their oblivions and stuff on top of it. So it's just literally should be fucking nothing but destruction on the point that you're working on. So now, after we're done, you got any questions about how this works so far inside here?
No, that's amazing.
As in point control? Okay, so now we're gonna
I didn't know about the ice block. That's amazing.
Yeah, so now we're gonna move outside, and do you know Abon and Autobahn and all that kind of stuff?
Kinda. I think.
Okay, so
Autobahn is opposite of the bonfire, and then Bon is.
correct, but it depends on which bonfire you're at. So when you're communicating with your 5 comp, so like right now on B point, we're on bonfire side no matter what, because bonfire is on either side of this point, okay? So say we're fighting on B and we're gonna go Appelbahn. If you're going Appelbahn on B, that means we're going around the opposite side like this. For tanks and stuff like that, that means nothing. But when you see people going Appelbahn, that means the Disruptor Squad and the Sting Squad's getting ready to come back here to go gank their healer. And so what happens is, as I find out when the Kill Squad ganks their healer, you guys on point over here are going to take that V formation and tighten it up into the quad that I call, so that you bring the whole fucking army into the one spot. And then once my bruisers give me the okay from their comps, I will start calling toes on point. So when toes up point on happens, that's basically your warning that crash is coming up soon. So if you, as a tank, you just stay the fuck on point, just so you know, to clarify. Don't bounce on and off unless you have to. Toes on point. Toes on point is for bruisers and for IGVGs. Anything else is going to get murdered if they go near. So when toes on point starts happening and everybody's kind of bouncing on and off the point, that means we're getting close to our crash time. And then I'll go crash quadrant 1, quadrant 1, quadrant 1. That means you 3 tanks that are spread out in that V formation, you're going to draw that attention over to this quadrant so that they all get crashed in the same spot. The gravity wells will suck everybody together. The Sundering Shockwave, or the Path of Destinies and Sundering Shockwaves will lock everybody in place. And then boom, explosion, point's ours.
They're walling them in so they can't crash back onto the point.
Well, so that's the next thing, is the counter crash. Is if we fail, we have to do what's called declumping. So say we just moved in and we did all of our shit and it didn't fucking work. That means we all back off point, but we do not stay in a big old group like this. We will be spreading out into like a, kind of like this kind of formation into a line. So that what happens is when we go back in, we pinch from multiple angles instead of cutting at them head on. So it spreads out their tanks and exposes tanks' backsides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if all else fails, which is like gonna happen tomorrow, is we're just gonna try and stick together as tanks and slow push into places.
Yeah, we can slow push beast formation. That'd be a good win.
Yes. So that's something that we're gonna play around with. Do you think you're gonna have time tomorrow to go to War Inky tomorrow night?
Yeah, Sunday. That's fine.